What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, continuing my deep dive into covers albums in search of the greatest covers album. I don't like covers albums, just the concept I'm against, especially in the modern day age. Maybe back in the 70s and 80s and even part of the 90s when you couldn't go online and find any song you wanted. Covers albums made more sense. I think like, hey, I would like to listen to all these songs, even if they are just pale imitations of the original, because I don't want to have to buy 10 other albums. Nowadays, I don't know, makes much less sense. So I'm looking for the best one. I've done 7 already. This is the 8th, and today's is Dedicated, a tribute to the Grateful Dead. And this might be the reason why I don't like covers albums. What I'm going to do, the scoring system that I have is every song, it gets a point or no points. And then at the end, I can give extra points if I think either the song selection was good, but the execution was poor. So I'm going to give it an extra point or vice versa, whatever. This one came out in 1991 and is probably the first covers album I was maybe genuinely excited about before I had become disillusioned with covers albums, possibly because of this one, as I have said. I was living in Berkeley at the time, hardcore Deadhead. This album came out. I lived in this house. It was like it wasn't a boarding house, but I rented a room in a house with 3 other people who I became really good friends with. One of the other people bought this CD like the day it came out, maybe the week it came out, and I had yet to listen to it. And a Saturday was a Saturday. My girlfriend and I at the time went into San Francisco. We spent the day at Golden Gate Park. Our senses heightened to their fullest. Went to see Jerry Garcia at the Warfield that night, took the BART back, got home probably about 1:30 in the morning, and we were still not going to go to sleep. We were pretty still awake. So we got this CD, we borrowed it, and we decided we were going to listen to this, and we got all cozy and kind of sat around the stereo in anticipation, and it was a great vibe. And we listened to this. And we were pretty disappointed. The artists are great. It's pretty much a who's who of 90s alternative / flirting with mainstream, but never really going to be their artists. Los Lobos, Elvis Costello. We got some Dwight Yoakam, Warren Zevon, Cowboy Junkies, Burning Spear for some reggae, some Jane's Addiction. Great collection of bands. And the songs are, for the most part, pretty good. I think all of them are pre-74. I think the most recent song, there is an Estimated Prophet, the Burning Spear song. But the problem with it, 15 songs total, is I think so many of them, as I listened to them back then and as I listen to them now, I think this is just that song performed by a different artist. So like Indigo Girls cover Uncle John's Band. They're just doing Uncle John's Band. It's just through an Indigo Girls filter. Nothing's changed. Nothing's really different. Not like they're really challenging themselves. They're not reinterpreting. They're really just performing the songs. And in almost every instance, not every instance, some of these people actually did a pretty good job of interpreting these songs. I just wanted to listen to the original. I wanted to listen to a live version of the original. But it didn't make me want to go back and listen to this over and over again. I did get to know these songs quite a bit over the course of the next couple months back in 91 because the friend who bought it loved it and played it often. So the songs that I do like, I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to this. Most of the good stuff is on the back half of the album. So the first half I think is pretty much kind of frustrating. And I think in a lot of instances, I'll get to the songs in a second, sorry. If I were to go to one of these shows, for example, Dwight Yoakam, Truckin', he opened for the Dead. I think the year this came out, I think like months after this, saw him at RFK, I believe it's where he opened up. Pretty sure he played Truckin'. The Dead didn't play Truckin'. Dwight Yoakam did Truckin'. That was fun. That was great. His version of Truckin' on here just kind of sounds like Dwight Yoakam doing Truckin'. Yeah, it's cool. It was great live. Don't know if I need to listen to it amongst a bunch of other people just doing things. Yeah. All right, let's get into the songs. Opens with Los Lobos doing Bertha. Interesting choice. I think it just You don't have that Los Lobos edge or that flavor, that mossy moss type attack that I think would have benefited them doing this song. It's just very straightforward. The drums on a couple of these are not good sounding. This, they don't sound good. The second track, they don't sound good. Either I get used to it or they get better. There may be a couple songs. I want to say the reggae song has some pretty bad 80s drums on it. So there's some lingering 80s, early 90s sound issues. And Bertha for me just doesn't work. The solo's kind of tasty, great guitar player, but yeah, no. Bruce Hornsby does Jack Straw. Drums kind of sound bad, but that's about it. I like this. I don't know why. I think it's just Hornsby understands the Dead. He played with the Dead. He was playing with the Dead on and off at this time. The piano solo in the first guitar solo section of Jack Straw, that piano action is really nice. Obviously, the guitar solo can't compare with anything Jerry would bring. I like the Jack Straw. It kind of works for me. Next is US Blues by a band called the Harshed Mellows, which was the Georgia Satellites, the lead singer, and maybe one other member, and members of the Heartbreakers, including Mike Campbell, I believe. Nah, it's just the Georgia Satellites doing US Blues, which I'm not really sure is a win. Georgia Satellites are get your hand in my pocket, go dingle dangle. I don't know what that song is, but it's a very over the top, affected, somewhat Southern type accent delivery. Very Georgia, I think, is Georgia Satellites. And having US Blues with that just for me is a little too much. Like the guitar energy, but it's still just US Blues. A song I'm not a fan of. Elvis Costello. If you don't know what song he does, just guess. Just guess. Did you say Ship of Fools? Of course you said Ship of Fools, because of course Elvis Costello covers Ship of Fools. And it sounds like an Elvis Costello song. Yeah. I think I would have loved this on an Elvis Costello album. Here, it's of course Elvis Costello just does a pretty straightforward version of Ship of Fools. Nice piano energy. The last verse, he does some cool kind of musical changes in it, but it's not enough for make me want to listen to this again. This is also a song that as I got older, I grew to love more. Back in 91, everything about this was probably like, yeah, of course. I want to say I saw Elvis Costello shortly after this or before this. I want to say it was close to Halloween, so maybe like half a year before this, or after this. And just thinking of that, I'm like, yeah, had he done Ship of Fools, that would have been absolutely epic. I don't think he did. It's on Concord Pavilion. We get two Suzanne Vega songs. They kind of flow right into each other. China Doll and Cassidy. The China Doll kind of works because that kind of works with Suzanne Vega's vibe. I don't think her vibe with Cassidy works at all. Way too laid back, way too acoustic, way too light and Suzanne Vega airy. The China Doll kind of works, but it's a little too true to the original. It just works because it matches the Vega vibe, but I'd rather hear the original. Dwight Yoakam doing Truckin'. Yeah, it's great country twang energy, but doesn't really do much with the song. Then, maybe the first thing that I actually do really, really like, Warren Zevon with David Lindley doing Casey Jones. And Lindley has a slide solo in here. That is fantastic. Warren's voice is great. I think I like this better than the Dead's version of Casey Jones. I've always thought that song was this weird anomaly. Does not fit on Working Man's Dead. Just, to me, it's just this odd little AOR rock song that somehow the Dead stumbled into. I've never, there are versions that are great, but I've never thought it was a Dead song. I love this version. Zevon, Lindley's amazing solo. His voice works, just the energy of this. This is how Casey Jones should be done. Indigo Girls doing Uncle John's Band. I don't need that. Lyle Lovett doing Friend of the Devil. Yes. 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 He goes low key. He goes intimate. He doesn't like slow it down like the Dead did in like the later versions. He just kind of makes it a little more mellower, a little more intimate. The arrangement just gives it a different vibe. There's a solo in it that almost makes it feel like a completely different song. It is absolutely perfect. It's stretched out to like 4.5 minutes, but that stretching out is more of it just letting it seep into you and just get the quietness of it to let it have that more of a little unsettling quality. Like Lyle Lovett gets to the heart and soul of this song and does a Lyle Lovett thing with it that isn't literally just playing the song. Yeah, Lyle Lovett understood the assignment and killed it. The Casey Jones is more great because of Lindley's guitar and Zavaughn's voice. This is an artist who understands. You know what I want to hear? I want to hear an entire album of Lyle Lovett doing Grateful Dead covers. That's a win. Cowboy Junkies do To Lay Me Down. And if you don't know who the Cowboy Junkies are, the Cowboy Junkies are like they're not a drug band, but they're like a heroin. What is that word? Heroin niche? No, heroin niche is not the word. But like they're really like slow and like take their time. Like To Lay Me Down is not the song they should have done. Like it takes a long time to lay them down. It is the perfect Cowboy Junkie song for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, I don't need this. Midnight Oil, Wharf Rat. This is just weird. First off, you got Peter, I don't know his last name. The guy that's lead singer's voice doing Wharf Rat. Already, that's just an entirely different experience. The entire song has this bigger, more epic rock vibe, has this really cool sort of bass-heavy jam in the middle of it. There is an incredible groove on the "I'll get up and fly away" part. They have understood the assignment too. They definitely are a little more, I think, almost restricted by Wharf Rat having that intro section and that breakdown in the middle and then like those distinct parts. They still kind of follow that template, but what they do with it and his voice, like it is not the voice you would have picked to do any Grateful Dead song. Maybe a Bob song, not a Jerry song. What is that guy's name? Peter something, right? Is it his name Peter? I am sorry. Garrett. Peter Garrett's voice. But the Wharf Rat, it's weird. Like it definitely is tapping a different emotion than the Grateful Dead's version of Wharf Rat. But it's a fun ride. It's a fun ride. Burning Spear, Estimated Profit. Good choice. Bad 80s drum sound. It goes on a little bit too long, and it almost just feels out of place. It almost feels tacked on at the end. I think maybe it should have just come earlier. That would have helped it. But they lean on the reggae aspect of Estimated. Dr. John does Deal. Perfect. Is this not a Dr. John song already? Absolutely perfect. Yeah, this is just, again, another artist like Lyle Lovett where like, yeah, he's just made to cover Dead songs, and it's both going to honor the Dead and sound like an original Dr. John song. Cool with that. And then the closing number, probably the boldest choice other than Midnight Oil, Jane's Addiction doing Ripple. Very rock sound, drum sound, kind of a whispery Perry vocal. It's interesting. I don't know if it's a home run, but they're not playing it safe. It's not Jane's Addiction unplugged doing Ripple. It's Jane's Addiction doing their weird thing, a weird Perry Farrell thing to Ripple. It's intriguing. It's interesting. It's what cover albums should be more about. So there were 6 songs on here that I actually think are really good. Jack Straw, pretty true to form, but Hornsby's vibe works. Casey Jones, Warren Zevon, David Lindley. That fits the energy of Casey Jones. They're both kind of quirky, weird, dark senses of humors. That works perfectly. Lyle Lovett wins with Friend of the Devil. Wharf Rat, a close second place. Dr. John, Deal was the perfect song for him. He could have done Loser. He could have done a bunch of other things. I think it would have worked. Jane's Addiction, Ripple, the spirit of a covers album. I wish more covers album had. 6 out of 15. That's a 40% ranking, which is not bad. And that would put it at number 4. Wow. Styx's Big Bang Theory I like better than this. But if you haven't seen the video for Ann Wilson's Hope and Glory, that's a good album. It's just a good album. She does the sort of late period Robert Plant, dark, bluesy, twisted Americana type vibe to a lot of the songs, and it just works. Picks great songs, great versions. Everything else is pretty hit and miss. And so this falls at number 4. But Ann Wilson, she's winning, man. Check that album out still. This one, if you're into the Dead, it's worth a listen. You might have tolerance for this kind of stuff more than I do, and none of the performances are bad. There's love. You can feel the love, but there are 6 songs that I think are worth hearing. And really, Wharf Rat by Midnight Oil, Lyle Lovett's Friend of the Devil. Check those out. Chase those down. I think those are really interesting listens. All right. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Thoughts on this album, thoughts on the Dead, thoughts on whatever, cover albums. If you have recommendations for me, I generally, if I hear that a band is putting out a covers album, I'm done listening. Ears are plugged. I'm saying nah. So I need names. I need titles. If you have something you particularly love, let me know. I definitely will check it out. But that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.